4th, 2006. Cooper, you want to go through the roll call?
Sure. Starting with the regular members, Chair Richard Spiker.
Here.
Deborah Smith.
Here.
Mark Stagg.
Here.
Dan Dahlkemper.
Present.
Sarah Ludwig.
Here.
And then other attendees, Director Jacqueline Spry is not here. Assistant Planner and Secretary Cooper Moore, I am here.
Okay. Proceed immediately to new business. We have one waterfront conditional use approval or request for approval application pending for the Bayfront Market House.
Can you use the microphone? It's hard to hear you.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. This is a waterfront conditional use review for the Bayfront Market House. Cooper, you want to introduce the project and go through?
Sure. So this is an application for one mixed-use building in the waterfront commercial zone. Presenting is Megan Loney from POH&W on behalf of the Erie Convention Center Authority.
Okay.
First, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to hear our presentation of this project. I'm actually originally from Erie. We're based in Pittsburgh, the firm is, but this project is near and dear to my heart. I'm back all the time since this is my hometown, so really excited to get this underway through review and permitting. So our Bayfront Market House project is a gateway to the bay, Presque Isle Bay, expanding on the sort of portal of the Bicentennial Tower and that activated area, expanding upon that and driving business to the waterfront from downtown. We've coordinated carefully with the existing site context, being mindful of maintaining West Front Street and the pedestrian passage to the site, as well as the new PennDOT roundabout and a future pedestrian bridge by PennDOT that is planned to deliver visitors directly to the site from downtown neighborhoods. We hope that our design will inform future development of the waterfront commercial campus, as ownership has plans to build out the larger area near the convention center at the waterfront. The building itself is oriented northeast towards the Presque Isle Yacht Club, docks, and which speaks to the pedestrian scale of the building and calling boaters in from the harbor. The aesthetics are inspired by an old-style market building with long-term durable materials in mind. We're using brick, stone, steel, and glass as our main materials that will shine through on the exterior facade. Signage is meant to be an iconic calling card for Erie's waterfront commercial development while staying within the overall height limit, getting to the elevations here, of the waterfront zone of 50-foot maximum. The sign sits prominently above the roof, which we will be seeking a variance for, and it's meant to call downtown visitors to the water. We plan for this sign to have a steel frame around it so that the signage will be two-sided with glowing backlit letters visible from the waterfront as well as downtown. The overall footprint of the building is 23,500 square feet on the ground floor. The second floor shrinks in from that overall footprint and is about 10,000 square feet for a total of 33,600 square feet overall. Our parking count is 83 spaces, inclusive of ADA van accessible spots, and additional parking is available on existing adjacent lots, with future parking expansions also in mind as part of the campus's overall development. The loading for the building is accessed from West Front Street. There is a pull-through for one of our retail anchor tenants on the ground floor, as well as a larger loading area in the back of the building along the parkway. Our uses are assembly, A2, and mercantile. Our 2 retail anchor tenants will be located on the ground floor with a market space prominently located at the front entrance of the building. And the feel of the inside of the building is meant to be akin to an adaptive reuse of a historic warehouse with lots of exposed steel structure and keeping the materiality of the building really shining through on the exterior as well as the interior. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have questions?
I have particular concerns. I'm Dan Dahlkemper, and I'm a registered landscape architect. So in looking at the landscape plans, there is some detailing and the selection of plant materials and the layout was a particular concern in a couple different ways. Megan, you just had mentioned, the loading docks are on the back side towards the Bayfront Parkway. There's no planting or screening or anything across there. Now I can see that the pavement is built out to the property line, and there must be something in PennDOT's plan across there, but if that's the loading area and that's what a lot of the traffic sees, I think, there's a couple planter islands maybe, and then where the roundabout is heading into the site, there's also nothing shown in terms of trees or entrance or anything else. And I know it's kind of the campus for the Convention Center Authority there, so there's not anything that's really shown there on the way.
So actually, in our latest iteration, I'm noticing that this is missing the plantings that we've added along the Bayfront Parkway. Cooper, are the virtual attendees able to share screen? David Harrington, I believe you're on the line. Do you have your latest landscape plan you'd be able to pull up and share with everyone?
So there's been some changes from the information that we were sent.
Additional plantings were added based
Good.
on, that concern was raised as well, sort of as we were submitting these. So, yes, that change was.
Because I know it was pulled from last month's agenda, because there was some concerns. Some of the plant materials I was unfamiliar with, and there were some also misspellings on the plant materials. So I was wondering who had done the plans, and I was told that Urban Engineers had done the plans. So I don't know where the planting materials came from. The box huckleberry, for instance, is spec'd to be a 30-inch high material. It only grows to 12 inches. So I don't know how that's going to happen, and it's not particularly good with salt tolerance. And in this area, there's a lot of salt being used by the Convention Center Authority to maintain, safety and stuff. So it doesn't appear to be an appropriate material to be used. Also, the mountain azaleas should be a rhododendron genus, and they weren't, it didn't say rhododendron, they missed the R. It's just, and again, it's something that's a good native material, but not in a very exposed area in this, because we're near the bayfront and there's a lot of wind and snow and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And typical things like the trees that were installed, and the Acer rubrum, again, was misspelled, but they specified an 8-foot height, and that's not typical for shade trees. Usually it's a caliper, so you know what size of tree you're getting rather than just an 8-foot whip or whatever. So it's just, I had some very serious concerns about the landscape planning. And on your site plan, it appears there's a outdoor eating area or patio on the west end of the building. Is that intended to be a cafe type area?
Yes, that is intended to be part of a future restaurant tenant.
Okay.
On the ground floor.
So, which is a great idea. We love to sit outside and eat whenever we can. However, that's the west exposure, and even in Erie in the summer, it gets hot. So whether there's canopy or trees or or anything else to be had. It just seems, and I know the landscape is a small part of the budget, but no less a very important one. And the convention center recently had to redesign and complete replantings down around the convention center because I think the initial landscape maybe was not appropriate. So we'd like to get this straight, get this, right on the first try. So I had some concerns about the landscape plans, the way they're shown currently.
And David, are you on the line? Are you able to bring up that latest landscape plan and speak to some of those items, such as the huckleberry and azaleas?
Hi, Megan and the City of Erie. I was able to reach out to my team here, and I'm pulling up a copy of our most recent landscape plan. If you could bear with me. Can everyone hear me okay?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't do the landscape plan, but I'm taking notes here to take back to the project team. And let me share my screen real quick. Let's see. Oh. Can someone direct me to where I can find the share function or button on Zoom? I apologize. We use Teams, and it looks a little bit different from Teams.
There should be a green button on the bottom of your screen.
Oh, I see it now. Thank you. Can everyone see the Bayfront Market House plan set here that I have in
Yes.
front of me? Okay, so
Yes.
Z-003 is the zoning proposed landscape plan. And this is the most up-to-date plan that we have. It appears that we are including some street screening along Front Street here, wrapping around the parking lot area, as well as some red dogwood trees here. 30 inches tall at time of planting is what we're calling out as the requirement. Due to an easement, though, through this area, we've had to make a break in those plantings, and then it appears to wrap around the south side of the site, paralleling the Bayfront Parkway.
Oh, so those were added then for the screen
So-
on the other side there.
So along the south side, Dan, we have the winterberry, and we're requiring a 30-inch height at time of planting, planted 4 feet on center. And then a note here that indicates planting as part of PennDOT work, I guess.
So definitely a native plant, but not a very natural looking arrangement. So I don't know what to say. I just think that it's that type of hedging doesn't really fit the look that's been developed in the Bayfront area. So, and we didn't have this information prior to the meeting. In those islands there, are there trees in those islands? I mean, some of the parking lot islands, are they planted? There's a couple that are on the north side there where the driveways come in. There's trees along that edge, but there's a couple islands. Is there anything in those islands there?
In these islands in
Like
particular?
right there, what's in there? Anything?
I don't think so.
Just grass at the moment.
Okay, well, I mean, those parking lot islands were intended to break up the parking lots and provide shade and interest in those areas. And then if you move further to the south, there's long islands through there where there's nothing. So I don't know who's doing the landscape plans. It just seems like you know, rows of plants were put in, and I don't know what thought was put in to hardiness and interest and color. And, you know, we're very proud of our bayfront, and it needs to look the best that it can be. And I'm very disappointed in how these plans came through. I guess I can express disappointment. Does it meet the requirements? Maybe. You know, but I think if you plant this the way that it's designed now, a lot of it's going to be dead after the first winter. And even though they're warranted for a year, they're going to have to get replanted or changed at some point. So I think you need to go back to the drawing boards on the landscape plan and think about that. The building, I think, looks great. The only other question I had was on the signage, because it's got the big sign on the top. Megan, you said it's backlit, so is it a solid screen that's up there? Is
Yes,
Yeah.
we're thinking like a solid
Okay,
steel frame, and then exactly, the letters would be subtracted from that frame, and then the light glowing through the back.
and is that a
On either
bronze
side.
color, or is that a black color, or what?
Yeah, we're thinking like a dark bronze.
The dark bronze, okay. And is there any other site signage there, you know, a pedestal sign or anything, or is the signage just on the building?
Just on the building is what we've planned at this time.
Okay. Are the vendors going to be listed too somewhere, or
Certainly, yes, for
on
construction.
on signage?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't really notice that, so.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the building.
Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts or questions before I start? Can you show the elevations, please? Particularly the elevation to the bayfront.
There we are. So that, the third
Yep,
in the middle.
yeah. There is what appears to be a fence enclosing the loading dock.
Yes, we're planning for a steel and aluminum cladded fence that is
Right.
made with like a wood look, so that it is long-lasting, durable, but it has more of like a natural feel.
And what's concealed within that?
That would be the loading area and dumpster, or trash compactor, I'm sorry.
Trash, okay.
Yes.
No other dumpsters?
No other dumpsters planned immediately on the site.
No other dumpsters?
No other dumpsters.
I mean, if you think that you're planning for future dumpsters, they need to be shown and accommodated and concealed.
Of course, we weren't planning any any dumpsters on site.
Okay. I look at that elevation and think compared to the other three, it's a pretty poor sister. So it's blank at the lowest level and does not have any relief in terms of articulation. You also have the banding at the coping. But it's looks to be a single material. There's no three-dimensional relief to break it up or relate to the structural bays as appear, perhaps on the other ones, the other elevations. What occurs on in the plan just inside the?
So the plan is sort of the driving factor for that. I'm sorry, these are site plans. So in the plan, that would be sort of the back of house area for each of the retail tenants. So certainly a less activated space, a bit more of like a employee parking area, but we would be happy to, reevaluate how we can add some more interest to that facade, because it will be visible, of course, from the parkway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think particularly with the the change in elevations and splitting off Front Street, off the traffic circle, more people are going to see it. It's going to be a much more prominent view. And so I think you really need to address that and come back with a proposal that will provide some visual interest to the people passing through.
Sure.
I understand whatever is, you know, when I think of a market house, I think of the West Side Market in Cleveland or some other places where there's a big hall filled with multiple vendors you can go to.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds as if this is geared towards several large footprint operators.
So on either wing, if you will, the left and right side of the building would be the retail tenants. And then that front portion that sort of pops out and has the, you know, brings some intrigue into that front facade there is where the market space begins and then sort of bleeds through the building. You actually will process through the market space in order to get to either of the retail tenants from inside, as well as those tenants having their own exterior entrances.
And who's the target market for retailers? I mean, is this aimed at for food vendors or farmers or
We're thinking,
is it
yeah, local foods, local businesses, mostly focused around vendors that would supply food.
okay? Not trinkets, you know, statues of the tower or such thing.
Tchotchkes.
Huh? I'm sorry?
No, tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes, yeah, that's the right term.
That's not the intent.
Right.
Certainly it could be considered.
Okay. Other questions or?
I'm representing the Historical Society from potential historical impact. And, I mean, the overall bayfront, of course, is pretty chopped up and a lot of fill-in and everything. But I was looking at the map fairly carefully here, the 1865 map of Erie, and it looks like you're going to be right on the Erie Canal, where the Erie Canal used to be. Maybe a lock might have been there. And it's long gone. I know they did find some traces when they were doing this preliminary work for PennDOT, and, you know, they found some wood cribs and all that. But I guess I mention it because I think it, two things. One might be a concern. I think that thing is tubed underneath. I mean, you guys would probably know what's underneath there better than I do, and that's probably been looked at. But I do believe they tube, you know, the whole canal. And then there's that Lee's Run, I think, that branches off into two directions that'll go around it. But the Mill Creek tube, so I don't know, that might be something to look at if they hadn't looked at it yet. But right through, yeah. Well, and then another thing, though, might be an opportunity to maybe highlight that somehow if you are right over it. I don't know, maybe some kind of lines on the floor that say, hey, this is right where the Erie Canal was, or something like that, you know, or signage, you know, some educational signage. You could collaborate with the Historical Society on that. They do have an exhibit on the Erie Canal.
That's certainly a very interesting piece of history that we'll look to incorporating a little closer. Certainly. And David, did those underground tubes, were there any concerns raised during the geotechnical reviews of the site? I don't recall anything coming up around those. I know we were more concerned with...
Based on my review, I don't recall seeing anything necessarily that, you know, called that out specifically as a potential issue, but this will be something I'll be taking back to the design team to look at. I know that we have conducted a phase 1 environmental site assessment, and we're in the process of conducting a phase 2, so that may help, you know, better define where these existing historical features may be.
Yeah, I doubt that you'd really impact anything important, but, it's something that you might run into problems with, with this tube thing, or, or the other side of it all, like I said, would be just a chance to, education, historical interest and stuff like that.
Right.
Have some fun with that.
Thank you.
And Megan, I just wanted to reiterate kind of what Rich was saying architecturally, that you had started out this as a gateway into the bayfront, and I was thinking screening that delivery area, which is what a lot of people are going to see
Right.
when they go through on the bayfront. So dressing up the facade, incorporating landscaping, or however that works, to make it a more interesting side of things, because you're looking at a lot of people that have houses on the bay. The front is the bay side, and the back, but a lot of people think that the street side is the front side. So it just depends on how you're looking at things. A lot of traffic goes across the Bayfront Parkway every day, or will, once it's open again. So I think having that side of the building would be great to have it dressed up or whatever, so it would make it more interesting to draw people in.
Yes,
So,
we'll take a closer look at that
Yeah,
and
that's
pay some
great.
more attention to the facade on that side. And I just want to go back to the plantings that we were talking about before. So the species, we're getting closer, it sounds like, with the winterberry, but we need to find something that's a little hardier and taller, right? And you would prefer to see more of a natural sort of staggering of the plantings rather than a straight row?
A more naturalistic look, and you can talk to down at the convention center. I mean, they just recently redid the landscaping around the area. Also understand, even though Pittsburgh has snow now, we get a lot more snow. And so oftentimes choosing plant materials that are soft, that can regenerate. So there's been a use of perennial plants, ornamental grasses that are native, that have been used, that can tolerate the snow, that can rebound, provide summer color and other interest. So the idea is to soften the parking lot areas. Trees are very tolerant also, with stacking snow around them and things. So yeah, I think that just a nice relook of that.
Yeah, we'll
And-
see how we can more closely relate to the language that the convention center is already picking up on then with their landscape design.
Yeah, and then also you have to mesh with what PennDOT is doing along there, and I have no idea what they're doing, whether they're providing trees or plantings. There's been a fair amount of planting along that walkway, multi-use trail that's along there, and whether that can work in your favor or not. So I think that would be helpful. And then this roundabout now becomes the gateway, the entranceway into the convention center campus. So I'm sure that'll hopefully be improved all the way along, and hopefully that the Convention Center Authority can have some input into that also.
Absolutely.
Okay. But I think the building overall relates well to what's been done with the end caps on the parking garage with the restaurants and things, and the Sheraton and the Marriott. So I think the styling of the building there, I love how the gables look, bringing that light like Rich was talking about. And those appear to be overhead glass doors that are going to go up for let some air and light in, like a marketplace would be.
Yes.
Is that right?
We've had some discussions with the interiors teams and of changing those to potentially just, storefronts like we're showing in the rest of the facade, more for flexibility of the interior space.
Okay.
So that's an ongoing discussion.
Okay, so that's not a finished product yet, then you're saying? Those don't open, or they may not open?
They may not open. They would just be replaced with a storefront in the same size and, height to match the entry storefronts near the center of the building there.
Okay.
Okay. A couple more questions. Cooper?
Yes, just a note on the perimeter screening, looking at the new landscape plan. It's all laid out in section 306.6 of the zoning ordinance for the parking lot screening, but I think the perimeter screening needs to be 3 feet tall. and there are maybe some trees missing as well. So a revised landscape plan, just keep that in mind.
Yes.
And that's 306.6 in the zoning
Okay,
ordinance.
thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, since Dan talked about snow and the propensity to collect it, you've covered the site with parking and asphalt and a little bit of grass and planting areas. What about snow storage? Where's the intent to store snow in the winter that gets plowed up and piled up?
So the intent is to sort of, obviously, remove them from the drive aisles and then focus the piles toward the, where we're showing grass,
Okay,
and sort of
You-
toward the perimeter of the site.
okay. I think you don't have anywhere near enough area to store.
So
Piles
some
of snow.
more, would you suggest some more pervious areas that could be used for plantings and that would be?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think that would make more sense, and I don't know where you are in terms of required parking for the floor, the amount of area you have, it's, and how you comply with the city's current requirements. I mean, my feeling is that downtown area in particular is overparked. There's a lot of parking provided, much more than is necessary for demand, so I don't know.
We were seeing that the requirements for parking were, we're playing a game of give and take with our landscaping versus the parking because
Right.
there is, the requirement does seem to be a bit of, potentially over parking, but I definitely see some opportunities to subtract from the hardscape to, maybe in our sidewalk, our patio areas, to maybe take some of that back and add more ornamental grasses that would be, probably covered by snow.
Sure.
And then grow back in the spring.
Good, thank you. I think that needs real consideration. I mean, to me, that is it's a realistic operational concern in this area. Is the intent to populate the hardscape areas with movable booths or tents or?
That was not the intent. What we're looking at right now with some of our future tenant fit-outs is potentially, that larger patio space that's page left of the building
Right.
right now, fencing it in maybe with like a short fence where you could still see through, and then having maybe exterior bar program seating, but not necessarily a movable structure.
Okay, you're not thinking of fruit sales stand or farmer market kind of?
I think there's definitely the opportunity for that near the front of the building, certainly.
Yeah, okay. To the extent that that gets considered, I think that perhaps in the later approvals that we're going to want to get an idea of the intended flavor of those kinds of things. I mean, and if the intent is to have a future restaurant operator who might occupy that West Terrace, I think that it's important that we get a sense of the density of tables that might come about, what their flavor would be in terms of, they're going to have umbrellas over them or whatever. I just, we're trying to do is understand the totality of the development.
Of course.
All right. Now, mechanical equipment. How's this being heated and cooled?
We are planning for rooftop units that will be in that lower roof portion of the back of the building. And those will be screened with, those metal type screens that would attach directly to the unit and make it look more sort of like an artistic metallic structure rather than an RTU box.
Well, that's in my view, that's the lowest hanging fruit to accomplish the goal of not seeing mechanical equipment. I think that, all the other developments that have happened on the bayfront have worked very hard to screen all mechanical equipment. You can't see it from the ground.
We could certainly raise our parapet to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think that you need to, when you're looking at that area, I think that's worth considering. And that is, we've used screens like you've talked about, and they take an ugly rooftop unit and make it a slightly less unattractive.
But you'd rather not see it at all?
But you
Understood.
know exactly what it is.
Right.
So, and this is important to create the impression of for the entire bayfront of the city. I mean, it is at the front door of the city. So.
Sure. We'll take a look at the
Downtown
parapet
today.
height.
Does that go for, is there a generator or any other equipment that gets placed out around the site there too, or? is part of-
That equipment, that would be like mechanical, electrical toward the exterior of the building is on that back facade, screened by the fence that we're planning
Okay,
there.
all right,
Yeah.
okay.
You done? I was just going to say something that came to
Yes,
mind.
go ahead.
Yeah, we were talking about the snow and we're talking about screening and, today would probably be a good day to just, because like an in vivo experience here of snow and just drive down there and see how
I actually
folks-
did, yeah.
Yeah.
My drive from Pittsburgh, I came across the Parkway, the roundabout, went across West Front Street, and yep, it's
See how
definitely.
see how they're dealing with the snow. I mean, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of mountains of snow in different places throughout the city, and I've watched, earth movers lifting and moving snow, and, in some places what they have works, and in some places, it doesn't seem to. It's pretty constrained, so. Yeah, maybe by actually going down there and seeing what they're doing with the convention center for snow, because I haven't really looked at that at all myself.
Sure.
And similarly, though, and we've talked about it in here, and I won't say any places in particular, but some places are clearly more attractive on the, on the bayfront side than they are on, than not, and you just might look at the way folks have taken care of screening or not taken care of it, because some probably could be done, a little better than they have been, and just get a real, life experience of the, these plans in action.
Yeah.
But just a third thing, and this is totally out of my league here because I don't know anything about this, but, what about that permeable, we were talking about asphalt and stuff. What about that permeable type stuff? Is that something that they use and think, that
Yeah.
water seeps through?
Yes, it's like sort of a concrete tile, if you will, and they're like attached for permeable surfaces that you can actually drive over and plant
Yeah.
throughout. That was a consideration earlier on in this project's inception that we could take another look at as far as balancing our permeable versus impermeable, and accomplishing those areas for snow removal at the same time. I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Hey, Megan, if I could weigh in real quick as well. Permeable pavement doesn't always hold up well in in our climate up here, but especially with the salt over time. So that might, that's something to take into consideration as well.
Yeah.
I have a permeable brick driveway at my house. It's holding up very well.
Thank you, Dan.
More
I mean, just
experience here.
as a real-life consideration, you talked about piling snow, the grass areas at the entrance. Real life, there's nothing more annoying than trying to exit a parking lot to be confronted with an 8-foot pile of snow out to the curb that starts at the curb, and you can't see oncoming traffic. I mean, it's very, it produces an unsafe situation. So I think we deal with it all the time, and some people do a better job of maintaining their grounds than otherwise. And it's very, I just think it's important that you consider that.
Sure, we'll find a better balance
Yeah.
than what we've got.
Sarah, any other questions?
No.
Okay.
I think you covered everything that I had with that south elevation being the frontage of the
Yeah.
building, so.
Yeah. Deb,
I
anything?
just have a question. Has the public been allowed to provide any kind of public input or comments concerning the project?
I don't believe public input has been collected at this time.
Okay.
So we should consider probably getting that, would you, or no?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well, this is the very start of the land development process, so they'll be back several times for the land development approvals. And that will be advertised, and the public will have an opportunity to comment here, in addition to eventually attending council's hearing related to the conditional use approval. So I mean, that's
Okay, thank you.
more to come.
Absolutely.
Is anybody interested in making a motion, a recommendation, since what we do is recommend to the planning commission, making a motion to recommend to the planning commission we move ahead, this project move ahead?
Well, in terms of discussion, you've had some concerns on
Yeah.
that facade. Would you like to see some rework of that? Or
Yes.
you want to recommend moving it to the planning commission with changes?
Well,
I hate to hold up the project, but I'd wholeheartedly reject the landscape plan and separate that out from the building. Because I'd like to see the project move ahead. It's been a long time
Yeah.
coming.
Cooper, what's your timetable for submission of the land development plan? Do we know that yet?
Well, the Planning Commission would review this project at their next meeting, which is in 2 weeks. After that, City Council would schedule a public hearing and a vote. After City Council would approve it, then we'd start the land development process, which would be whenever an application would be submitted.
Okay.
So with that schedule, what are you thinking, Rich?
Can you describe, you've recorded all of the points that we've raised, and can you provide the architects, the owner, with a copy of the comments?
Yes, I've been taking notes, and I can pass them along.
Okay. I think I'm comfortable, given that we can recommend assuming that they are adequately dealt with, properly dealt with,
Ahead of the planning commission, of course.
at the planning commission. So it's not to impede the
Process.
process. I mean, is 2 weeks going to be sufficient time to
I should hope so, just for, some landscape revisions and some exterior facade on the back there. David, can you agree to that timeline for landscape?
I'll have to review with our project team, and we'll see, see what's available or what we can do. Yes.
Well, we'll expect it I will expect it for the planning commission, to be able to, these to be addressed, and hopefully we can keep it moving forward. Is that
That's
acceptable?
adequate.
No.
Yeah, I can
So
support
move
that.
forward with the recommendations.
Then we will proceed on that basis.
Excellent, looking forward to it.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Will you be back for the planning commission?
Certainly, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to have some continuity.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We all love continuity, right? I hope to see you guys as well.
All right. So,
Thank you.
In your review, the canal was right through that zone?
Well, it sure looks like it,
Does it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a.
Because the canal basin is just to the east there.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the canal came off of that basin.
Seems like it's almost parallel to the, what would that Sassafras Pier?
Yeah.
Which was real thin then, but then it grew to the, to the width it is now.
Oh, I
And
see.
it's, so you have that little channel between the, the Dobbins and the pier. And
Rich, I think we're
it
just,
seems like it goes,
Rich.
and I'm trying to interpret this from maps and standing there and looking, but it looks like it goes right up there.
Oh, German, sorry.
Did I miss the comment period? Am I able to say anything?
Public
Do
meeting.
we have a?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not on, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then that's okay.
There-
There's no public comment. I'll let is it okay?
It's okay. Yes. We're, we'd like no surprises.
Kathy Schaff, thank you for having me speak. So I've been a United States traveler. My kids have lived in different cities of the United States. So I've actually been to several different marketplaces in different cities, some bigger than Erie, some smaller. But like in Kingsport, Tennessee, they have a historic one. It used to be a factory. I don't know if it was a Kodak factory or not, but those doors opened up, like the windows, and they had like the trucks coming in, and the trucks park, and they have it so often, and I've been to them like Saturdays, my family would go. So then they also have a family pool into that, where like on one side there would be this big carousel, so kids could be with their families in a carousel, and then there's a historical walking spot that starts, and you can do a trail. But and it's just like not pickles, honey butter, everything imaginable, flowers, but then they did sell like other crafts too, and different things, and different ones, Cincinnati has them,
Right.
other cities and stuff like that. But thank you, Dan, for the landscaping point. That was right on. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome, Kathy.
Okay, sorry, we're missing it, but we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
Mark and a Dan and Mark. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.